Hey, how you doing? This is Adam Post, publisher of more than 1,000 comic books and marketing expert covering Hollywood actors panic as streamers reject expensive star TV deals. Let's get into the story. Before we do, please be sure you are subscribed to the channel. Click the bell for notifications. Give me a thumbs up. I really appreciate you guys. Coming from Deadline, Hollywood contraction hits star TV packages. It's a head scratcher. What's a star TV package? That's where you're a movie star, you're a TV star, you've got a good following of your own, you're a big ticket actor, and just by agreeing to be part of a film project or a TV project, you get a lot of control over it, you get a lot of additional money, and you can go and you can say, hey, Netflix, if you want to buy this, write a check. If not, we're just going to go and offer it to HBO. And if HBO doesn't like it, we'll just go take it over to Apple TV. That's not happening anymore. There are some deals getting made, but there are a huge number of deals that used to be getting made that are no longer getting made. And that's what this is all about. Also from Deadline, Hollywood contraction hits entertainment executive jobs. This is a full-scale depression. So this is a major change in Hollywood. The industry is going through a really difficult time because they have to produce things that people actually want to watch. It's funny, it sounds ridiculous to say it, like, haven't you always been focusing on what people actually want to watch? And the answer is no. They've just been taking advantage of, if you want to watch something, you've got to have one of these people who want to make something that they want to make, whether it's the actor or it's Netflix or Disney Plus, pushing out the content that they want to push out. If you don't like it, well, too bad. You still have to watch it. What else are you going to do? The whole thing is turned around now because of all the billions of dollars of losses of every company that's not Netflix. Netflix is the only company that's actually making money, and they're redefining the business again by saying they're not going to report their subscriber numbers. They're going to focus on just showing how much money they make. Their competitors like Disney Plus, Paramount Plus, nobody can compare to what Netflix is doing. And the reason why Netflix was paying big dollars to acquire projects that were attached to big name people is because they wanted credibility. They wanted to attract viewers. Most importantly, they wanted to attract subscribers. But now they have those subscribers, so they don't have the same priorities they used to have. And the other competitors can't afford to just write gigantic checks unless those people are actually going to bring in not just viewers, but subscribers. After the end of strikes, agents, managers, and producers quickly moved to assemble high-profile packages to take out in what was expected to be a frothy marketplace following 6 months of inactivity. But while there have been a few bidding wars and big sales with a couple of others pending, the level of demand has not been what many anticipated. The biggest casualty of the tight market? Packages with A-list stars attached. A-list stars. Now you know where they're saying Hollywood's in a depression. Because an A-list star should be guaranteed money in the bank for anybody who's trying to sell a show. You're trying to get subscribers? You're trying to get people to watch your subscription service? Well, get some A-list talent. Get people that will absolutely watch because that actor is on your series. It doesn't work that way anymore. It's not that the studios don't have the cash. They have the cash. The numbers just don't add up. Quote, this has been such a head scratcher, one agent said about the situation. Agencies are keeping record of all the star packages that went out and failed to draw interest over the past few months, despite the level of talent that has included Oscar and Emmy winners and nominees in front of or behind the camera, stars of blockbuster movies and iconic TV series, and in a couple of instances, famous intellectual property. The total now exceeds 20 deals. And these deals get shopped. So if you put together a package that includes this actor, this writer, this concept, this script, this is the deal we want, it's all developed, it's ready to go. Each one of those deals gets offered to one studio, and if the one studio doesn't take it, it gets offered to other studios. Sometimes more than one studio can look at a project at the same time. 20 of them have failed all of the studios. That's why this is a big deal. What we call it the whiff list, one manager said of the roster of casualties. The dry spell may be rooted, at least partially, in the current slate of the streaming TV evolution. It was the rise of the streamers that brought along the proliferation of star-driven packages. Netflix announced itself in the original series arena in 2011 by outbidding HBO for House of Cards, headlined by then top draw Kevin Spacey, with a 2-season order. Other streamers similarly went after the splashy star-driven packages as they were establishing themselves, including Apple TV Plus with The Morning Show starring Jennifer Aniston and Reese Witherspoon. Amazon had Homecoming, headlined by Julia Roberts, both of which commanded 2-season orders. And 2 seasons is a big commitment. They're guaranteeing a certain purchase of multiple episodes for not just one season, but of course at least 2 seasons. The streaming arms race has largely subsided as media and tech companies have shifted their priority from building scale to profitability, not willing to overspend on talent and projects. Quote, money is so tight everywhere. These are huge investments, massive packages, and a lot of them are not necessarily the best return on investment, one agent said, noting that streamers have not seen upticks in subscribers based on those expensive originals. If the streamers are not going to get more subscribers and more subscribers that they can keep for the long term, not just people that will subscribe for 1 month, that doesn't help the streaming service. They need people to get on their service and stay on their service. Most game-changing series which have driven up subscribers for platforms like Stranger Things, Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon, and Reacher have not been star vehicles but star makers. With budgets cut across the board amid economic headwinds, there is fear. Executives are scared to spend that kind of money, another representative said. They don't want to be the first one to jump in and spend if they don't need to. According to the rep, probably factoring in that newfound resistance is the massive success of a lower-cost acquisition like Suits, which thoroughly outperforms star-driven series that cost $100 million per season, and which has made streamers even more reluctant to spend big on packages. Quote, there's a little bit more rationality in the market, one buyer said. Packages used to come through, and it used to be Netflix will buy it, or now it's Apple will buy it. But we're seeing things go out that don't get any buyers, which is unusual. That hasn't happened in a while. As to why, quote, I think that it's capacity and willingness to pay expectations. What would have been straight to series is now maybe development, the person said. So instead of agreeing to go ahead and finance an entire series, they'll say, well, we'll develop it and we'll see if we think it's working. And if it's working, then we'll talk about going forward with it. That's a much different situation. And it's a better situation. Why should you throw money at people if you know it's not going to give you a good return? It's a whole different environment in Hollywood now. Indeed, while Tina Fey's 4 seasons Margot's Got Money Troubles, starring Ellie Fanning and Nicole Kidman with David E. Kelley as showrunner, The Good Daughter, headlined by Jessica Biel, recently landed series orders at Netflix, Apple, and Peacock respectively. Most of the high-profile packages which sparked interest in bidding situations post-strike ended up with development deals. That may not be a bad thing, as most of the biggest hits on streaming and premium cable have come out of internal development. With a big package and a big commitment, that could be harder. For the studios that take out packages, there is a level of expectation, especially if auspices are big, one agent said. In the development cycle, there are a lot of layers and cooks in the kitchen, but the auspices don't want to take notes. So now the situation is they don't want packages. They don't need that star attached to the project. They want to hear what you want to do with the project, but then they want to develop it with their own people at the studio if they're going to go forward with it at all. This takes the control away from the Hollywood stars, which, since they're writing the checks, is probably where it belongs. With the marketplace not flush with money, network executives are more inclined to take in a cheaper project that they can develop and take ownership of the person added. They mean ownership in terms of control as well as equity. So being able to put the project together in a way that they think will make it most successful on their streaming service. It means the streamers are actually focusing on producing things that people actually would be interested in watching. Additionally, in the past, the only way to land a big star was if they were attached to a package. Now, an actor of pretty much any caliber can be brought in during the casting process. For instance, Steve Carell was just cast opposite Faye, Tina Fey, in the Netflix series 4 seasons. His 2 most recent series, Space Force and The Patient, were both picked up with him on board, and he's been attached to at least another package taken out since then. So they don't need to buy a project that Steve Carell is partly developing and is part of a package with other people already established, how they want to do it, what budget they think they need to do it. Steve Carell will actually just go and say, hey, can I be in your series? And then they'll say yes or no. He doesn't need to put together a package. Meanwhile, a series like HBO's The White Lotus has proven that a show can be very successful without spending a fortune on top talent. Even after the huge success of the first 2 seasons, the drama has stuck to its modest acting fees, resulting in offer turndowns. The White Lotus is an American black comedy drama anthology television series created by Mike White for HBO. It follows the guests and employees of the fictional White Lotus resort chain whose interactions are affected by their various psychosocial dysfunctions. It's an anthology, and when we were publishing comic books, we did a lot of comic books that were anthologies, and we geared ourselves towards anthology format. Anthology just means you've got a few short stories put together in one project. With an anthology, you don't have to depend so much on talent committing to your project and having to be there long term on your project. One thing I learned early on when I started publishing comics, my first one was G.I. Jackrabbits, was that you can't always depend on your creators to deliver for you. Our artists started a project, did a great job on the first couple of pages, and then couldn't finish it. So we had to hire other artists, and it turned out to be kind of a mess. So if you're a publisher, if you're a video channel, if you're a Netflix type of service, you need to be able to produce content, keep it within your cost budget, and not have to depend on stars who may want to work on one day and then maybe don't want to work the following month, or maybe aren't available to do more work because they're part of another project. An anthology gives a studio a tremendous amount of flexibility. It doesn't mean it's right for every idea. It just means it's very powerful when it does work right. For White Lotus, the strategy has worked well for the Mike White series, whose cast members consistently sweep the Emmy nominations in the acting categories. So it's great for the cast also. A limited commitment for them because it's part of an anthology, as well as a limited commitment to the actors because if they lose an actor or a couple of actors, they can replace them and kind of continue on with their series and their concept. There is another potential reason behind the recent wave of package rejections, the glut of limited series. In 2012, HBO stepped up for a limited series package, True Detective, which had Matthew McConaughey and Woody Harrelson attached to star. Its success ushered in a string of limited series with A-list talent that sparked bidding wars, including Big Little Lies with Nicole Kidman and Reese Witherspoon, which also went to HBO. That then became movie stars' preferred way of doing prestige TV with a limited time commitment. It's evident from the list of Emmy winners in the long-form lead actor or actress categories over the past 7 years, which includes Nicole Kidman, Regina King, Michelle Williams, Kate Winslet, Ewan McGregor, Michael Keaton, and others, all for limited series. With the strikes delaying new seasons of drama series, premium networks and streamers have relied heavily on limited series in the last 6 months, creating a logjam in the genre and one of the most competitive Emmy fields ever assembled with hits like True Detective, Night Country, Lessons in Chemistry, Fargo, and others. Quote, everyone is backed up from the strike. Limited series have no shelf value, and that's all what stars want to do, one buyer said. Calling most limited series a terrible business model for all involved. We want big returnable hits, the person said. They want a hit. They want something like White Lotus. They want Stranger Things. They want a series that will attract viewers and will attract subscribers, long-term subscribers that want to see more and more episodes of the same concept. A limited series, while it's very convenient for stars, doesn't provide a returnable hit. So even if it is successful and it does get some subscribers, it's a one-time show kind of thing. They can't keep doing it. That's why an ongoing series is valuable and why an anthology is really, really valuable. I'm sure we'll see more anthologies as time goes on. From the Daily Wire, post-strike Hollywood goes into panic mode, and rightly so. Hollywood is changing forever right now. The strike did not help them. People started looking at all right, how do we really reallocate our resources? And if Netflix isn't going to really have to compete with other studios for content the way they used to have to, it really forces the studios to think about a different business model. The studio behind Oscar-winning movies like Green Book, Spotlight, and An Inconvenient Truth has gone the way of the fax machine and pager. Netflix is also getting out of the auteur business. Harper's Magazine declared it's not a matter of if, but when Hollywood ceases to exist, at least in its current form. Tinseltown is in panic mode, and understandably so. And that doesn't include the fallout from last year's dueling strikes, the rise of AI, and audiences rejecting some of the industry's once bulletproof franchises like Indiana Jones, The Matrix, and Marvel. Jeff Skoll, a progressive eBay co-founder who wanted to create socially aware films, formed a studio called Participant. While his mandate to make socially aware films seems like a recipe for failure, the studio walked the line between message and merriment. It earned plenty of critical love too. But when a scare documentary on climate change grosses a gaudy $24 million stateside, you're doing something right. But that's only up until now. Previous Participant projects like Truth, RGB, and When They See Us certainly had a liberal-leaning approach, and some genuinely impacted the culture. That Skoll opted to shutter the company now says something. Progressive stories will still be made, but they've lost a powerful ally in Participant. Prestige filmmakers have struggled to get their visions made in the 21st century. Even a highly regarded filmmaker like John Sayles can no longer be guaranteed studio space for future projects. That allowed Netflix to gain a toehold in the cinematic space. The streaming giant gifted gargantuan budgets to filmmakers like Martin Scorsese to make The Irishman, while Hollywood studios flinched. But Netflix is not doing that anymore. Netflix announced it will focus on more populist original films and skip the auteur-driven projects of yesterday. Moving forward, the platform will focus on films that gain more eyeballs, like the Knives Out franchise. That means celebrated filmmakers like David Lynch and Catherine Bigelow can't crack the Netflix code. Apple paid handsomely to fund Ridley Scott's Napoleon epic. Will they follow suit? Napoleon earned just $217 million worldwide compared with its reported $200 million budget. The aforementioned Harper's Magazine piece is littered with doom and gloom, along with the receipts to back it up. Quote, the industry as a whole is now facing a broad contraction. Between August 2022 and the end of last year, employment fell by 26%, more than one job gone in every four. Layoffs hit Warner Bros. Discovery, Netflix, Paramount Global, Roku, Disney, and others in 2022. In 2023, firing swept through the representation giants United Talent Agency and Creative Artists Agency, Netflix, Paramount Global, and Roku again, plus Hulu, NBC Universal, and Lionsgate. In early 2024, it was announced that Amazon was cutting hundreds of jobs from its Prime Video and Amazon MGM Studios division. In February, Paramount Global laid off roughly 800 people, and now it's unclear which streamers will survive. Hollywood is deathly afraid of how AI technology will impact its workforce, and we've already seen stars lose out on voiceover work thanks to AI. That could be the tip of a digital iceberg, the likes of which Hollywood has never seen before. Panic, and it's understandable. That explains reviving stone-cold dead franchises like the Blair Witch Project and the Scary Movie series. We'll also see another live-action Popeye film, as well as a movie based on the board game Monopoly. Can Hollywood be saved? Perhaps, but it won't be by any of the above film projects. It begins with innovation, acknowledging audience expectations, and producing less ideological content. Stars should be less dismissive of their dwindling fan bases too. Liberal actor Nick Offerman of Parks and Recreation fame set that tone by telling the press his new movie Civil War would lose audience members if it chose a political side. That's smart, but what's less than smart? Actor Alan Ritchson teeing off on President Donald Trump, the police, and Christians while promoting his latest project, The Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare, which did flop at the box office. It might take real risk-taking, which is anathema to an industry known for playing it safe. Consider what Kevin Costner has in store for us later this year as the ultimate risk. His Horizon film saga is an old-fashioned Western, at least on paper, that could span as many as 4 feature films. The first 2 installments will be released on June 28th and August 16th, respectively. The film legend broke the old Hollywood saw about using your own money to invest in the series. But will it pay off? Costner summed up the All-American saga during his appearance at this month's CinemaCon gathering. Quote, when I think about the promise of America, there was a promise out here, if you could go. If you were tough enough, if you were mean enough, if you were resourceful enough, if you were lucky enough, you could take what you wanted in America. The same could be true of Hollywood moving forward, or else. It's not enough to have a big name anymore in Hollywood to go and get work on an expensive TV project. It's not working anymore. For 20 major projects to come out with top talent attached and not get them sold with all of the studios they could present these projects to, especially since the studios had been kind of shut down with buying projects because of the strike, to not be able to sell those really tells you things have absolutely changed in Hollywood, and the studios are actually concerned with producing things that will create long-term subscribers that actually want to watch the shows. Let me know what you think of all this in the comments below. Always love to see your ideas. Please be sure you are subscribed to the channel. Click the bell for notifications, give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you again soon with another story. And if I don't see you, I will miss you.